Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 4 of the anime series Noragami. This was yet another very entertaining and interesting episode in that we have a lot of revelations coming to the fore about our hero, sort of hero in any case, Yato, and his past by the end of it. But it basically began hilariously with this grand dream of his, all the things he wishes he had. I mean, he basically wishes he had the same kind of success as the god we met in the previous episode, the god of learning, everything like that. Having all of these followers, these Yatoites and all this stuff. And he's apparently excited and speaking about this in his dream, but also, you know, in his sleeping form, so that Yuki is very annoyed by it. He basically kicks him down these steps and everything. It just opens the show very hilariously. Of course, they are yet again treated to something to eat by Hiyori, who comes trying to find out, you know, when is he going to do something to help her. And I love this dynamic. You know, somebody commented on my previous episode review that everyone's always giving Yato a hard time, but that's kind of the point of his character. He's an idiot who's also a badass. If we look at anime tropes, we have a lot of idiots who are also badasses, like one of my favorites, Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. He's very much after riches and avarice. He's trying to distance himself from his dark past, and it's only after a while that we learn his past, we learn just what a badass he is. It's not just the martial arts side of things. Another sort of Shinichiro Watanabe creation, Samurai Champloo, features the Samurai Mugen, who's very sort of stupid at times, but he's also skilled with a sword. So Yato is very much that kind of character. He has a stupid, hilarious side, but he's also quite skilled and quite badass, and there is a dark past going on here as well, as we find out in this episode. Essentially, you know, he brings Hiyori to this other god, who he calls his girlfriend, Kufuku, who is the god of poverty, as we find out in this episode, because of this character who wants to kill himself, and basically he inadvertently calls Yato, and Yato says, I'm going to help this guy, and they're going on this like never-ending fall off the top of a tower in Japan and everything like that. Learning about this guy's history, he met this girl on the streets, he started to wine her, dine her, wanted to help her, everything like that, fell in love, and ended up broke, and this was all, turns out, Kufuku herself. And we also meet her regalia, who is this giant hulking burly dude called Daikoku, who, you know, I love how Yato calls out the fact that, oh, he loves kids, you know, as if it's like a pedo bear situation. But in fact, this guy's actually more sort of a compassionate regalia. He admires life and he admires youth, and Yato was kind of trying to turn it on its side because this guy doesn't like Yato. You know, knowing what Yato's past is, as I say, it's revealed that he has been a killer in the past, talking about the feudal Japan era, the sort of swords and samurais, you know, that kind of era. He would take lives. He would, because he's not a well-known god, answer anyone's wish, killing regalia, killing people. And it's very shocking to see Hiyori learn this and have to weigh this. You know, at first she's not sure whether to take it seriously, but then when she finds out the details, it's only brought to a more mysterious point that much further when we see the little sort of regalia girl with the eye patch up on her forehead, Nora, toward the end of this episode. Once again, we saw her at the tail end of the last episode, sort of observing Yato and Yuki from afar, and we see her approach Yuki dead on in this episode after he shows his tremendous skills in breaking the ties between this cat who wanted to kill himself and Kufuku. But it's very interesting how she's sort of getting up in the face of Yuki and saying, wow, you're really strong regalia and all this stuff. She has all these markings all over her as if she's been a regalia time and time and time again. At least that's my suspicion as to what those markings mean. And Yato's like, Nora, what do you want? You know, why are you here? And we found out that he did kill a regalia of his own a long time ago. Makes me wonder if this is the reincarnated spirit of that regalia. Maybe this is something hearkening to the show title, Noragami. She is called Nora. So it does make me wonder what exactly this character's existence means, because she disappears soon after telling Yato that someday, and she's still waiting, he'll call her name and all this kind of stuff. So I'm not exactly sure whether she's just an obsessive former employee of Yato's regalia or something more ominous and nefarious is on the horizon. And part of that could just be, toward the end of this episode, very interestingly, we see Yato sort of catching up with Hiyori after she's found out all of this dark past of his, that he's killed and all this stuff. We see him walk up behind her, what were you guys talking about, meaning Kufuku and Daikoku and her, and he basically says, look, I brought you there for this purpose. If anything happens to me, go find them, seek them out, and go to them. And I found this very compelling because it's almost as if he senses something on the horizon himself that could have to do with this Nora, could have to do with, an opposing sort of faction of spirits or phantoms or far shore entities. In any case, I don't know exactly what it's all going to amount to, but that's part of the excitement, finding out as we go from episode to episode. And I just think it's really interesting because, once again, it shows the sort of compassion that Yato hides deep down inside, much as we saw him displaying in a previous episode where he wanted to stop those phantoms from basically controlling people to make them commit suicide. He didn't want his regalia, his newfound regalia, Yuki, to have to suffer in seeing someone taking their own life, feeling like they have no purpose, wasting their life because of, Yuki's yearning, like most regalia do. In his particular essence, he's a regalia who died before his time, and he would hate to see someone's life wasted when he didn't get the chance to live fully. So we have Yato being very heroic, even though he does have, as I say, that idiot side. But this is a fun, hilarious, action-packed series. I loved how they dealt with breaking the ties of that character who wanted to kill himself because he had met Kufuku and fallen for her. It's just all very interesting. And of course the dynamics, the character dynamics between our main trio, but also now the additions of Kufuku and Daikoku, it's all absolutely hilarious. It's all unnerving. It's all on the edge of your seat, action-packed. I mean, this show has everything so far, and I love it. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. If you're able to post, please realize I can't respond to them in the comments, but I love reading everyone's thoughts and reactions as well as mine. What you thought of this episode, what you think of the series thus far. Otherwise, that'll be it for me on this. I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you later. Peace.